Hey everyone, and welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Thanks for joining me today. I'm just going to check my volume, see if that's come up okay. Yep, it looks okay. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I just thought today actually start from the beginning. Over the weekend I had a couple of craft classes with my beautiful home craft ladies, and this time for our technique we used the baby wipe technique. And as I was tidying up after the considerable mess that was made, I decided that I had some leftover cardstock and inks and things, so I thought, well, I haven't done a video with the baby wipe technique yet, so it's probably a good way of using up some excess materials that I had from the class. So that's what I'm going to do today, just a quick video. I'm going to show you, these are the samples that I made for the particular class that we did at the weekend. You can see that I'm using the Floating and Fluttering stamp set, which is this wonderful one here with the butterflies. It doesn't have any sentiments with it, so the sentiments I'm using are from the Peaceful Moments, but you could basically use any sentiment that you like. So that's what I'm going to be using. These are the three samples we did from the class. We did the backgrounds from all these three cards have been done with the baby wipe technique. So you can see you get these wonderful lines of colour, and I'll explain to you as we go how we get these wonderful results. So you can choose whatever colours you like, and sometimes colours that look good in your head or on paper, you put them together and you wonder what in heaven's name you've created, some sort of brown 70s lounge room mess. But anyway, so it's a matter of a bit of experimenting until you find the colour combinations that you like. So what I'm actually doing today is a little bit of experimenting, because I don't think any of the ladies that came to the class on Sunday actually used this particular colour combo, but we'll see. Hopefully, as I say, hopefully it will turn out well. If not, I can revert back to the colours that I've used before and know. But first of all, what I'm going to do to create these cards is take my little composite butterfly stamp here, pop it on the block, and I'm going to stamp, just on a scrap of Whisper White, I'm going to stamp 2 lots of our butterflies. Just in black. I might get a matte underneath there, just because it's a photopolymer stamp and sometimes they need a little bit of help to stamp completely. Anyway, so just in black Memento ink, and I just want to, doesn't really matter too much about the positioning because we're going to be die cutting these out anyway. Here we are. And they've stamped really, really well and reliably because of the foam mat underneath, which I'll move away now. Okay, so we're just going to pop those little butterflies to the side for the moment. Just tidy up the stamp, and because of this block, I'm going to be using this block for our baby wipe technique. Okay, so that's there. Just take that off, and we'll look at the colours that we're going to use. Okay, so the colours I'm going to use, and I've got my refills, my little ink refills here, are So Saffron, Seaside Spray, and Soft Sea Foam. So nice little soft colours there. Hopefully they will stay nice and soft when I pop them on together. So going to grab a baby wipe, and it has to be a fairly wet baby wipe, so don't make sure that you've sealed the container so they're nice and moist still, don't let them dry out. And you do have to use the wet wipe pretty quickly, because with the inks they do dry quite quickly, and you can't really get the right effect with a dry wet wipe. Okay, so what we're going to do is drop some drops of your inks onto the baby wipe, just in sort of, you can mix them up if you can get the hang of mixing them up. Personally, I mix them up and I end up with just a brown splodgy mess, so I find it better for my purposes to have them quite sort of separate from each other. They're going to merge together to a certain degree in the edges, and you do want them to be, you don't want any gaps between them, you don't want any blank spaces, but you don't want them to merge into each other too quickly. So now I've got that there, I'm going to bring back our little butterflies. I'm going to use the infill stamps that we get with the set to actually colour our butterflies using the ink from our baby wipe. You do have to work pretty quickly here. As I said, it will dry out. And you will get ink all over you, so have a pair of gloves handy if you think you need them. I haven't actually got my gloves here, so we're going to basically go with it. There we are. So you can see there, the colours from your baby wipe have transferred to your butterfly by dipping your infill. And you can move them around and get different colour combinations by just getting ink from different parts of the baby wipe. But they're all going to be, I'm going to stick with that theme, that yellow, blue and green that we've chosen, because that's all I need for that one. And we'll bring in our other little guy. Yeah. And now our last little sideways one. So there we are, we have our yellow and our blue and our green, little touches of our green all over the place there. So that's worked quite well. I'm going to actually do the leaves as well, but I might actually, since I've got a green in there, I might use the green to do the leaves. There is a little stamp here for the leaves, and I might just concentrate on the soft sea foam to do those. Could of course colour them with blends or markers or pencils or whatever your favourite colouring medium happens to be. And a little infill for that one. I've got a little tinge of blue there, but I don't think that's going to hurt it too much, just for a little something a little bit different. There we are. Now that's a quite subtle colour combination there, so especially on those leaves, it's not overly dark, but I think that's quite nice, and it's going to work really well with our background, I think. So we just pop that aside to dry for the moment. Then we're going to grab the really fun messy part, is the actual wash on the background. So to do that, it is very similar to watercolouring. So what I'm using is the shimmer paper. I'm not using normal cardstock, I'm using the shimmer paper because it stands up to watercolouring a fair bit better. You could use watercolour paper as well. Then what I'm going to do is grab my baby wipe, sort of fold it so that you can see all of the three colours sort of at the front of that fold, and then starting hold the paper down with your left or right hand, which depending on how handed you are. Then start off the edge of the cardstock, so off the edge, so that by the time you hit the cardstock you're already moving. So I'll show you just like that. If you start right on the cardstock, you're going to end up with blank white gaps at the end. So actually start moving beforehand, and you're just running along. Try not to overlap too much because you will get horrible grey messes, but basically that's the background that we've produced with the three colours that we've got. So that's going to dry a fair bit lighter. That is quite bold there. That So Saffron has come out quite yellow, but it will actually dry a bit softer. So I'm quite happy with that. Okay, and every time you do this you're going to get a different result. Sometimes there will be more green than you want, sometimes there'll be more blue than you want. This one's come out quite yellowy, which is quite surprising for me. You can go back again, but you more often than not make it worse than better when you go back again. So I'm not going to try. You just sort of will get sometimes get some little white streaks, but I don't think that's too much of a problem. And as I said, you will get a little bit inky, but that's not too bad. Okay, so might leave that one to dry a little bit. It's curled the paper a bit, so we'll just let that dry out before we come back to it. And I'll go back to my butterflies. Okay, so I'm going to die cut these butterflies out. I'll bring in my big shot, which is folded up at the moment only because I was showing a girlfriend how nice and compact it becomes when you fold it down. My plates are here somewhere. Where are my plates? As I said, I was showing the girlfriend what a space saver it can be. Apologies about that. So here's my plates. And I'll grab the stamp set. The die set, I mean. Here's the dies, the fluttering dies. Hopefully that's going to focus okay. I don't usually bring my, as you know, I don't usually bring my machine into view because it tends to focus and wobble, but we'll give it a go today. And I'll just make sure it refocuses once we've finished. Just got to get these little bits out. They're leftovers from the class on Sunday. It was such a full-on class that by the time I finished I just had no energy for cleaning up, so I just dumped everything in the craft room and probably fell asleep on the couch, I think, before too long. Okay, so we've got our dies and we've got our little butterflies. Just line those up. It's a bit tricky from my current angle, but I'll give it a go. Usually stand over my machine when I'm doing it, but I think I can do this. Actually, I will stand. Oh, sorry about that. I will stand and make sure I'm in line. Oh, that's not going to work. Put that over there. We are. Just pop that through. And I love these butterflies in the fact that you can leave them together in a group with their little leaves, or you can cut them apart. There's no great, there's no great trauma either way, and you can end up with, but either way you get them all with the one stamp and the one die cut. Okay, I'll just get rid of that. There we are. Oh, I will need to bring it back in a minute, but that's fine. Actually, I might do that off screen, the next part now. I'll just straighten myself up because the die cutting machine always moves me around. And here we have our two little sets of butterflies. there we are. So what's next? Okay, we'll bring back our background. It's probably dry now, or pretty much dry. So we can decide what we're going to do as far as, we're going to back it or not. It depends which one I was going to do. Okay, now we don't need a backing colour for this one. We're going to go straight onto the white card base. So I've got a white card base here left from our class yesterday. It's Whisper White thick cardstock. It's 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. So I do have to cut this piece down so that it's got a little white border of the cardstock around the edge. Okay. So it's I'm going to make it a 1/4 inch border. So I want this to be 3 7/8 and 5 1/2. Sorry, wrong side there. That's the side I want. 5 1/2. You can choose which end or which end you cut off. So you can cut off if there's one side of the card that you're not really happy with. You can make sure you trim that down. And I actually probably should have trimmed the other corner, which I might actually just do, just a whisker. That was the side that wasn't quite as good as it could be. Okay, so we've got our card base, we've got our background. So the easiest thing now with this one is I'm going to cut out a centre panel using this really cute little rectangle from the fluttering dies. So I'm just going to cut that out and form a bit of a window. Then I'm going to stamp the sentiment in there and arrange my butterflies around, and it's pretty much done. Oh, there goes my paper again. Anyway, so I won't bring the die cut in, just bear with me, I'll cut that one out. So again, you can probably place it in the position. If there's part of your background that you're not overly happy with, you can make sure that you cover that or cut that piece out so that you get the view that you're happy with. As I say, it's not an exact science, the baby wash technique. You can do, the same colours a second time and get a different effect, and not necessarily an effect that you like. Okay, oh, excuse my external mic there. Okay, so we have this little one here, and I have cut that so crooked, haven't I? Oh well, it's a bit tricky at the angles. Anyway, so that's our cut out there. What I'm going to do now is, just for ease, I'm going to stamp my sentiment, so I know where the sentiment's going to go, in that really crooked centre part there. So I've got happy birthday. I just want one that fits in the middle there. It doesn't really matter what it is, whatever occasion you happen to be using. And I'm really off centre again here. So just position your panel where you want it to be, and then you can bring in your sentiment and pop it in the right place. And the reason I've just suggest you do that then is because then you can arrange your butterflies around the outside. There we are. So I've got a happy birthday there. Then what I'm going to do is set that panel up on some dimensionals just to give it some height. And I'd like to use the edge dimensionals because they're really good for long edges. So I'll use up these. Oh, the delivery man's here. I wonder who that's for. Could be me. Go and have a look in a second. Don't think I'm expecting anything at the moment. Who knows? just use some in the corners. Where else there? I'm not going to put a huge number of them on here because it's just a demonstration card, but you'd use as many or as many as you feel that you need. Oh, that definitely looks like a Stampin' Up box. I've got a delivery. I wonder what it could be. You order so much sometimes that you think you just don't know when it's going to arrive, and then you forget you've ordered it. It's like Christmas. So thankfully he will drop that on the doorstep and go, and I'll go and get it when I've finished here. Okay, so that's all those. So just positioning this so you've got the same sort of distances, top and bottom and sides. And there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to position our butterflies. So one whole lot of butterflies I'm going to pop there in the bottom left hand corner. So just like that. So you can see it's coming together really nicely, isn't it? Sort of sunny, bright, sort of summery sort of colours, beachside suburb colours almost. And this other set of butterflies, I'm actually just going to cut them apart, just following the lines of the die. Just cut them apart, and I'm going to arrange them around the edge. And they're only held together by the smallest of little tabs of paper, so you can cut them apart quite easily. And try and, if it's a wobbly part, you know, a knobbly part of wing, try and keep it knobbly in your cutting so that it looks natural. So that one there, this little guy here, and this last little one. Okay, so he does need some of his corners. Where I've cut the other guy off, I have to sort of smooth those out a little bit. Okay, so there I've got my three little butterflies. You can use your little leaves and things as well, tuck them in behind there if you like, but I'm just going to use our little butterflies here, and I'm just going to arrange them around the place so it looks like they're all flying in to say hello. And to be honest, now you can't really notice that I was so bad with that little die cut in the middle there, because it sort of hides the fact that it's completely off center. Just want to put them so that it's sort of pleasing to the eye. There we are. So I think something like that. How do you like that? I think that's really, really nice. So I'm going to just glue them basically to the outside of the frame. Now I might pop a little dimensional just under where they overlap, just to keep them up away and away from that card base underneath. Okay, so let's start with some glue. So just glue and place it down just like that, and where you can see it's overlapping, I'm going to pop a little dimensional under there. And oh, okay. And this little guy, he was going to go up here, I think. So some glue on his wings. And then up like that. And then maybe a little dimensional just under his tail. There. And this little guy here, and this little one just there, I think. And it sort of looks like they're hovering over the top of our sentiment. It's really quite pretty, I think. And he needs a little dimensional under there. Okay, so that's really, really nice. I think it's sort of all bright and summery and sort of very spring and summer. Okay, now what happens to make these butterflies really pop is I suggest you use with this technique some Wink of Stella or some sparkles or something like that, and just give those wings a bit of oomph. What it actually does with the inks, it actually deepens the colours so that they become even more vibrant than they actually, than they originally are. I love the Wink of Stella on these inks. Certain inks, they really, really, really lift, as well as giving the shine. And it sort of highlights the contrast between the colours that you're using, the yellow versus the green versus the blue. It came out in a big bloop. I squeezed it too hard. But it'll dry, that's fine. Okay, so there we are. So there's our butterflies with their lovely shine that they've got now. It made them more bright and more vibrant than they were originally. Okay, so just when you thought you had too much bling, there's never enough bling. I'm going to add some rhinestones to that. Just bear with me, I'll just unhook myself and go and get them. Rhinestones, where are they? There. Okay, so we're going to pop some basic rhinestones around. Okay. Yeah, I think 3 will probably do. There we go, just to give it a bit of extra shine, just like that. Okay, so that's my baby white technique for that background. I really, really like that. I hope you do too. I'll just show you some of the other colours that we used in our class, my samples from the class. So as I mentioned, this one, the one we did together today, was So Saffron, Seaside Spray and Soft Sea Foam. This one here with my sample was Floaty Flamingo, Mango Melody, and there was a pink in there as well, I think Petal Pink. You don't see much of the Petal Pink, but mostly Mango Melody and Flirty Flamingo. This one here is the same combination. Oh, stuck. So this one is the Flirty Flamingo and Mango Melody, and this quite striking one here is actually a combination of Pretty Peacock and the blue, the Seaside Spray. So it's quite different actually. A lady who was here on Sunday used the same combinations, but she had far more of the blue of the Seaside Spray, and it gave it like a totally different look. So as I say, no two cards is the same when you're using the baby wipe technique. Okay, so I'm glad you joined me today. I hope you enjoyed those. As I say, there was lots of leftovers from my class yesterday, so I thought I'd share this particular little technique with you. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you give it a go. I'd love you to put the results of your efforts on my Facebook page. That would be so great to see what people come up with. I'm always into inspirations for different colours and different colour combinations when it comes to this. As I say, they're all so very, very different. Anyway, so thanks for joining me today, guys. As I say, that was the the baby wipe technique. Really worth giving a go, as long as you don't mind messy, mucky, inky hands. But hey, you can't make an omelette without breaking some eggs. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you don't have an active demonstrator and you'd like to talk to me about these products, please drop me a line, send me an email, send me a message on my Facebook page, and I'm happy to help any way I can. So have a great week, and I will see you all later.